Hello, everybody. I'm back with the lovely people from Crowned Group or Crowned Bookkeeping.
At the moment, we're focusing on bookkeeping. So we're Crowned Bookkeepers, but we are global. So we went for Crowned Group for our domain because we figured we're looking at the big picture and eventually we might want to expand and do other things. But for now, mainly bookkeeping, payroll, training, that kind of thing.
All the exciting stuff. Okay. We want to talk a little bit today, Charlene and Bernice, about the different platforms that are out there because it's confusing for someone like me coming into it. What are the main ones that are out there? Who are we talking about, first of all? And then let's then start looking at some of the main reasons that you might want to go with one after the other. We're going to try and keep fairly agnostic about this. We're not going to say that one is better than the other. We're just going to give you examples of why there are differences, and then you can have more informed choice when you go to pick which one that you're after. So what are the ones that are out there to begin with?
It depends on which country you are.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'll go with Australia first. So I would say the major ones would be Xero, MYOB, QuickBooks. Would be your online platforms, although MYOB also has a desktop version, which I don't believe a lot of people are using anymore, but it's available.
I've never heard of that one for a start. MYOB.
MYOB, yeah. So originally, I want to say about 10 years ago, MYOB was, quite big in Australia. Like that was one of your major accounting and bookkeeping platforms, but Xero has really taken off and now they've really taken a big share of the market.
Well, I have to say, when I was growing up in business, the two main ones that I remember from using in accounting were Sage, which was very much initially was quite a DOS-based system. It was like Sage Line 50 we used in the business, and then there was Pegasus as well. Do either of you remember Pegasus out there? Oh, you see, I'm old. But Pegasus, go and look it up on the old Wikipedia later. Pegasus was like one of the kings of accounting software at one point in time. So, accounting software has evolved. Let's put it this way: accounting software has evolved quite drastically in my lifetime. The majority of it, as you say, has moved away from being something where you put floppy disks in and load it onto a computer and then you use it, to cloud-based software, which for any of you that still don't understand cloud-based software, the beauty of things being cloud-based means that it can change and update as they create updates for it, which can also be a problem, though, for some people as well. As Charlene, I mean, you were kind of talking about that just before we came on. Sometimes you get completely used to the software looking one way, and then the next day when you log into it, it looks so different. Yeah. Is that kind of getting to be quite a common problem for users, to be honest?
I think for business owners, it might be a problem, especially if accounting software is not something they like using. It find it difficult to use tech and stuff. But yeah, it's when any software brings a major update that just changes everything around, and you have to go find what you're looking for all of a sudden. It kind of becomes a pain. But yeah, like for instance, QuickBooks recently just did a major revamp. They kind of went in a way of creating this ecosystem rather than just having the accounting software.
I think you're going to see more and more of that as well. Okay, I'll come back onto that for a minute. So we've got in the UK, we've got QuickBooks, we've got Sage still. I mean, Sage is still there.
Yeah, Sage. A lot of accountants I've talked to recently still big on Sage, although that was also usually a desktop-based software, but they've also now gone in the direction of QuickBooks and Xero. And then you've got Xero and some smaller software in the UK is making some big names for themselves, like FreshBooks and FreeAgent. If you have a bank account with certain banks like NatWest, you get the software for free, and that's a that's big for some businesses that doesn't want to spend the money on software.
Does it mean it's necessarily the right software, or that's something that you can all
That's
decide?
true.
Yeah, but you can all decide once you hear a little bit more. Okay, now, I know you've got your preferences. We won't tell people what your preferences are. What are some of the main differences that you see? You just mentioned one there about QuickBooks becoming more of a kind of suite of tools rather than just an accounting package. What other differences do we see between the different platforms?
Some softwares are more inclined to target accountants who knows what they're doing. So the wording and everything would be a lot of accounting heavy jargon, but another software like, for instance, FreshBooks are more targeted to the small business owner who wants to do it for themselves, and they've built it around words and phrases that a business owner might know, like who owes me money, rather than accounts receivable or debtors.
I think this is the play that's going to happen out there as software develops, is that people are going to try and capture you in and go, right, you do your accounts on here, but you actually do everything else. You build your CRM, you do your marketing from this, you do absolutely everything. Do you both see that as the way that this may well go?
Yes.
Yes. Xero Books is another prime example. They do CRM and marketing and all a host of things, and then they've also got their own accounting software built in. So.
Yeah, I'm just Googling because I think I read somewhere that Xero has over 1,000 apps. So just what you just said, Graham, like, yes, you might pay for that add-on, but you can build your entire system for your business around the software without, having to process something there and then having to print it out. It can automatically or integrate automatically. So it just saves a lot of time and errors.
I think we'll see that demarcation within the market as well, between those that choose to have like a core product and then bolt-ons, so you can build as you need to build, and those that offer a complete package up front, which may be cheaper but actually quite complex for anybody to negotiate in the first instance. I use a platform for my website called Go High Level, which has the CRM. I could do my accounts on there, but it's not necessarily seeped through to accountants yet. Does all of this growth in the market and everybody competing for attention, does this make things more difficult for people like yourselves, because you've got to kind of try and keep up with what's going on out there?
I think we are, my opinion is, we are trained to adapt quickly. Normally, like we would, learn quicker and faster because we do it every day. So for us, if we see accounts receivable versus, money that someone owes you, we would automatically have that back training. So I think it would be easier for us to adjust and adapt than what it would for people that don't work in this field on a daily basis.
Do you feel like it might get to a point though where like different like bookkeeping companies or accountancy companies will need to like make a choice between a platform that they major with?
I have seen it in practices, for example, and I won't say the software name because you said not to say which one's your favorite, but they would say, we need you to be on this particular software because our working papers and financial statements and tax returns are prepared in that particular software. And so it just saves a lot of time when it's the same software, where if you've got, a different package and then you've got to code it into this one, and then you've got to, once you've made all the adjustments, go back into the client's package and, it just duplicate work. But then there's other firms out there that says, no, whatever software you're on, just bring it, we'll work with it. So it just depends on the accountants or the bookkeepers, I suppose.
It's interesting. I actually know somebody though who's a bit of an entrepreneur who's developing a system where it can take whatever the accounts are done in the first instance and then easily put them into whatever system the accountants want to use and then transfer them back again quite easily. So I think that maybe that might become more prevalent as solutions as well.
I've mentioned MYOB in the beginning. They recently released a software that you're able to do that, and you can import different types, like you can import an Excel or you can import whatever system they're on. But it's still in the development process, I'll say that, because I was one of the people that was like, oh, let me see if this is, and it is exciting. It is exciting when you see changes and, things moving forward to make things easier for us as well. But they still have a few more issues to resolve, shall I say.
Do some of these packages that are out there, do they give people a very different view of their accounts and what's going on, do you think, or are most of the main ones fairly similar in terms of like the overview that they now provide to the business that are using that accounts software?
Again, speaking from Australian perspective, I've seen Xero with a lot of the dashboards. So when you log in, you immediately see all these beautiful graphs. And so it gives you an automatic update of where you're standing. If your accounts are reconciled on a regular basis, it's of course not useful if the data has not been processed. But I've seen QuickBooks have a similar desktop now as well. But I suppose it's also depending on the user. If you don't know where to go look in your software, you might not know that that report is available. And then even if the report's available, do you necessarily know what that report means?
Charlene, we talked about QuickBooks earlier. Do you think like the software almost assumes though that like people's accounts are up to date, so that data that it's showing is correct, which is not necessarily the case, is it?
Yeah, they often sell you on you can have all this data at your fingertips, but only if you actually put in the work and give it all the information it needs. Especially with like a lot of software is bringing in the cash flow forecast, but you have to do a lot of work. You have to put a lot of work into that to actually get useful data out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why I would use someone like you, Charlene, is so that you can nag me and say, actually, you haven't done this, and can you please do this because you're behind on this, which I am at the moment. So I know I'm going to get nagged by Charlene later, which is fine. But do you inherently with that, do you not think that actually it could be more useful to everybody in the equation if perhaps rather than this kind of glamorized viewpoint when we log in as users of that, I mean, that might be the great view for the accountant or the bookkeeper to look at, that kind of overview. But wouldn't it be more useful for someone like me if when I logged in, actually what I saw was a list of tasks that I need to complete in order to get my accounts up to date, and almost saying to me, I'd like you to work on this today, please, because you haven't done it for a month. Can you do these? This is important. Boom, boom, boom. And now you need to do that. And now your accounts are up to date. And now we can show you this dashboard. And now it makes sense. Don't you think that would be more useful?
Definitely. A lot of clients I've worked with in the past, they just want the bookkeeper to get on with it, and they don't really like to get all these notifications. Oh, do this, do this, do this. But you're right. For some business owners, that actually is a lot more helpful, and it is something QuickBooks has built into their system.
Do you know whether Xero's got any of that kind of functionality? Kind of, here's a kick up the backside. This is a list of things that you need to do today. I
mean, apart from 1,000 unreconciled transactions screaming at you, I can't say that I've seen that here just yet. No.
Again, I'm not going to name names, but I've kind of noticed that some of the AI around those kind of reconciliations and the rules around those reconciliations isn't completely there yet, because I know for myself that I've set up rules with certain keywords within things to auto reconcile, and then they don't work, right? They work for a bit, and then like the wording is slightly different, but it's still got that keyword in there, and it doesn't actually pick up on that. So I'm now thinking I've got to go back and retrain it because maybe it will get better with time if I keep retraining those rules. I don't know. Have you got any experience of that with talking to other clients, that the sort of AI is intelligent, etc., but it's not entirely where it needs to be yet? So don't rely on AI, in other words.
No.
Yeah.
Still use a bookkeeper. Yep.
I feel like using the baby, child, teenager analogy.
Great.
AI is a baby, and we need to teach it and teach it and teach it and teach it, and it will learn more and more and more and more. Oh, okay, there is a keyword, but now the keywords change. Oh, that still means that. Okay. So yeah, unfortunately, until AI becomes a fully grown adult, I would say yes, it will still need correction, and it will still need, that training from a human being until such time where, it's done automatically, and we say thank you very much. Now we can do other things. So
both of you, do you see your within your lifetime, do you see your roles evolving in terms of the kind of work that you perhaps do, just because the system will eventually be able to do more of maybe some of the heavy lifting?
Yeah, definitely. I think even bookkeepers would have to move more to a form of advisory role, and rather than just the one doing the manual work.
Yeah. Which is exciting, actually, in a way, isn't it? Because I'm sure there are days where you think, oh dear, do I need to do all of these figures again? Do I need to do this work? I mean, look, there's bad bits of every job, aren't there? Grunt work in every job. For me, it's like video editing. I record something like this with you, and that's the exciting bit, having the conversation and whatever. What you don't see at the back end of it is like then the hours spent like clipping little bits out and throwing them in the bin and then moving things around to make it work, right? All of that takes hours of time, and like listening over to the same bit of the same conversation over and over. Yeah, exactly. It's not so glamorous now, is it? There's always a glamorous bit to the front end of a job, and then there's always bits at the back end which aren't so great, But yeah, that's where AI should be, though, is in those moments where we don't necessarily get anything out of it as human beings, to enable us to do more of the creative thinking around, what do these figures actually mean to us, and what do these figures do? So we probably see that shift, which is good. In terms of the software that people decide to go for, do you advise people to trial a particular software first to see whether it suits them, or is it just a case of dive straight in? Because these companies are very clever, aren't they? They quite often do a cheap offering right from the word go, as opposed to if you can do a free trial, but if you do the free trial, then you go straight on to like paying a bit more. But which is the right way to go there? What do you think?
Taking the trial and see how the software works is always a good idea, but you also have to think about your business and your plan for the future, and what features the software offers in all of its packages up to the highest package, because you don't want to choose a software now, and when your business grows, it outgrows the software completely, and then you have to move to a different software, and it's not always easy to just take all that data and put it in the new software.
Okay, that's really good. So would you prefer that before somebody started all of this, that they came to you with their business plan and where they see their business going, and talk about, you know, what they're going to potentially do in year one, and then maybe have a conversation and show them what some of the different softwares look like, etc., and then give some advice on that? Would you prefer that to happen rather than people like dive in and then go, oh, I've got a business over here, would you like all of this stuff?
I am definitely an advocate for have a conversation first. It never hurts to have a conversation first. And it can save you a lot of time too. Like even if you do your own research and go, oh, I think, you know, or I had a conversation with my best mate while we were having a barbecue and he's on this software, so I'm going to try it. But that might not necessarily be correct or the right package for your business. So if you think, okay, I'll try the free trial even, that's a month of data that you've processed. And if you decide this isn't the right one because it's not, then you have to move all that data to whatever other package you want to try out. So yeah, definitely have a conversation, definitely have a play around with people who have access to stuff like that, and yeah, make the best informed decision that you can, I suppose, with.
And again, I won't say which one it was, but I even moved recently, as Charlene knows, from one package that one of the vendors did to another of their packages, and that was a headache, right? Actually, just trying to export the data and with their help, export it out and put it into the new package, and it didn't necessarily fit where you'd think it would be seamless, right? That if you were on a package, that with a particular vendor, that you could just then go, right, I'm going to upgrade to this, and it would just happen because all of this data is in the cloud and whatever as well. But the way that some of these transitions seem to be happening is that they literally try and finish with one package, or they develop around a package, and that's kind of developed in one way, and then this is their new baby over here, and they don't, those two packages don't talk. It amazes me that there's that kind of lack of kind of customer experience built into the migration. But that's been my experience. Do you find that as well, that it's not necessarily straightforward to just move from one thing to another?
No.
Because one package might have certain features that the other one doesn't, and it doesn't read that data well. So
yeah,
it just turns out in a mess, or it doesn't import some of your data, and then you have broken data basically, and that's not useful.
I mean, unfortunately for me, the package that I moved to didn't exist when I first took on the first package. So I mean, because I've been on that for like 6 or 7 years, etc. So I have been on there a long time, and I guess people will go with that rub. But I guess part of my advice would be to a business owner out there is that actually, even if it looks a little bit more than you probably would need it for, you might want to pick a package that at least can grow with you, and you know, has got different things that you can add on, like payroll and whatever later on down the line, VAT if you need it, because you probably will get to that threshold at some point, and then you need it to happen. Hopefully, who knows? Or maybe we don't want to. Yeah. Maybe we just want to stay in one area. That's an interesting question. I do want to cover that quickly, because that's always fascinated me as well. We live in a world now, actually, where more and more people are kind of working from home. Some people have got a little bit of a self-employed side hustle or whatever happening. Accountants, I've found in the past, I'm not naming you in this as well, because you've both been lovely, but some accountants that I've spoken to in the past are kind of get a bit pushy in terms of like, oh, this is where your business needs to be going, right? But do you think that, like, actually that puts a lot of people off, especially as success doesn't necessarily need to look like that for some people out there? They may just want to earn up to a certain amount a year and be happy with that. They don't necessarily want to grow their business above that because it might have an impact on their family life and everything else. Are you seeing that more and more?
True. I would also just quantify the amount here in Australia for VAT or GST as only $75,000. So I'd hope that you would want to, reach over that, or maybe 75,000 is enough for you to live on.
I don't know what's that the equivalent of in the UK, roughly. Do you know?
Half.
About half. Okay. Yeah. So that would still be.
It could work if you're.
Well, it's still above. It's still above the average wage in the UK.
Yeah.
So, I think it could work quite well for a lot of people, especially if those people have got maybe a paid job and then this is a secondary self-employed income, right?
Absolutely.
Which is becoming.
Yes, I agree.
More, so that makes sense. Let's talk to finish off today with I'm going to mention the horrible 3 letters, Making Tax Digital, MTD, which is happening, right? This is not going away in the UK. This is coming in, and actually I think there's lobbying in government at the moment to lower the starting point of that as well as to when that comes in. So just so we're clear on this, as of April, if you're earning £50,000 or more in terms of self-employed, you will need to have registered for Making Tax Digital, and that means that you will have to be on a software package that is Making Tax Digital proof, and you will need to then start to upload your quarterly accounts to HMRC. Are you seeing more people getting a bit worried about this? Because in general, and I'm very concerned for a lot of businesses about this, because I know so many people that don't do their accounts until right at the last minute of the at the end of the year that they've just done, right? How much is this going to change the landscape for sort of a lot of self-employed people out there?
It's a big change because you would need to stay on top of your accounts regularly, because you would need to submit quarterly returns. So it's a big pain because it's only affecting the smaller self-employed people more so than the big businesses. And I think a lot of people are still not quite ready for that. And we'll have to wait and see in the next couple of months if the software are up for it at all. I know some software companies have been doing tests where owners could volunteer to start the process earlier, but it's still lots to look forward to.
Or not look forward to. We'll wait and see.
Not look forward to.
Maybe what we do is I need to register for that program at some point. So maybe what we'll do is I need to get on with my accounts with you, and then we'll try and get that up to date. Maybe we should register, and then perhaps we could do a program where we actually show what the registration and everything looks like. That would be quite interesting, I think, for a lot of self-employed people. See what actually is going on under the hood with Making Tax Digital, and maybe demystify it for people. If you're feeling anxious about that, just come and have a conversation with Charlene and Bernice. They'd love to have a conversation with that about you. And before choosing a software package, as we've heard today, there's lots of choice out there, but there is some differences between them. So again, have a conversation with Charlene, Bernice. They'd be happy to have a conversation with you about what your business is doing, where it might be going, and what you perhaps need to think about when choosing the right software. They can help you make a really informed choice about that. Once again, thanks for joining me today. We'll be back, won't we, sometime soon to do another one of these. Until next time, from Charlene, Bernice and myself, bye for now.